Hello everyone, this is the Polity, reaching you live from the Abuja studios of King Adebayo Film and Theatre Arts Network, popularly known as KAFTAN Television, where we all imagine a beautiful world. The Polity is a program that takes a deep dive into unfolding political events within Nigeria and even beyond the shores of the country. My name is Macauley Hunohashi, welcoming our esteemed viewers from around the world for joining us this auspicious afternoon on the Polity. You agree with me out there that so much is happening within the political firmament, and it's a journey towards the 2027 general elections, and already so much is happening in terms of horse trading, in terms of cross-carpeting, or you can call it defection if you want. And the latest in the political space is the declaration of state of emergency in Rivers State. We're focusing our attention on that declaration of a state of emergency by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu yesterday, Tuesday, the 13th day of March 2025, because the long-run, protracted political battle between the governor of Rivers State, Siminalayi Fubara, and his benefactor, as well as political godfather and current minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, came to a head yesterday with that declaration of state of emergency, and many people are reacting. There are lots of pushbacks, and opposition political parties such as the People's Democratic Party, as well as Labour Party, and their leadership are reacting, and some are, Mr. President is having full support with regards to what he has done from some quarters, and there are other people who are saying that he lacks the constitutional right to declare state of emergency and sack a whole democratic institution in Rivers State. Well, joining me in the studio live to help us break down this issue, this contentious issue, is no other person than Professor Ikeckukwu. Prof, you are welcome to the Polity.
Thank you very much.
Professor is a very, very known face on Nigerian television stations, particularly major TV station. You agree with me, and everybody knows him to be a straightforward person. He says it as it is. Well, viewers, I would like to reiterate at this point that in the course of the show, we are going to open our telephone line so that Nigerians can be availed the opportunity to call in to verbalize their thoughts with regards to in reaction to the topic under scrutiny this afternoon. We are going to lay, Professor is going to lay the foundation for us. Prof, we have, yesterday, the crisis between like I said, the former governor of Rivers State, Nyesom Wike. You say Wike reminds me of Donald Trump as the most combustible politician in Nigeria today.
I agree.
You agree with me? And there has been this protracted battle between him and his protege, so to speak, Siminalayi Fubara. And it came to a head yesterday with the declaration of state of emergency by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. What are your thoughts? Were you expecting this to come, sooner than later?
The question is, before we get to your question, how is Fubara feeling right now?
How is he feeling?
How are the lawmakers feeling right now? They were warned. I recall in an event and on one program, I had said that the way they are going, the roof is likely to come down, and that if the roof comes down, if anybody is going to come out of that place alive, he will come out on crutches.
Okay.
Now there's no state assembly, there's no governor, all their cars are withdrawn, all their security details are withdrawn. Right now, sobriety will be descending on many of them. Oh, maybe I could have done this differently. Yeah. And I wouldn't say I'm entirely surprised, because the way things were going, already some bombings were beginning to take place. Yeah. Which would suggest from the angle of security that control of the environment was being lost. The issue on the table is fairly simple. That used to be the headquarters of insurgency because of before the major insurgents became government contractors. There are also people who are capable of what you might call opportunistic mischief. So here you are. There's then the ethnic angle to the politics. That Fubara is from a particular sub-tribe, and this is the first time they are having it, and all of that. Now, the crisis is at several levels. But the thing to focus on is that with bombings beginning by people, not sent by Fubara, not sent by Wike, but who are independently angry on their own, and who think that the solution is to do things that will frighten people into not doing what they want. The escalation was possible. My question is, was a state of emergency absolutely necessary? I'm not entirely convinced, frankly. It didn't have to be a state of emergency. This is a political environment. Our politicians know how to talk to each other, to beat them into line. You get a call from the right quarters and say, my friend, the way you're going, you have 2 weeks to tidy up this matter, otherwise I'm going to blow all of you out of the water. That didn't happen. And if you look at the text of the declaration, it will appear to have focused on the quote and unquote misdeeds of only one party.
That's right.
And that gave it a rather tendentious, optics, rather tendentious effect in public consciousness. So 3 things: security was security was dropping. Had it gotten to the point where you could say only a state of emergency is the way forward? I'm not sure. And then, having taken that step now, we have to manage the outcomes. But more importantly, for all the actors who are muzzle flexing, one thing is clear. Some are saying, oh, it's Wike who made the federal government to take the decision. Let us assume it's true. Let's just assume it's true, based on every other thing suggesting that it's true. The question for the lawmakers to ask themselves is, what have we got? He's got a bigger joker. And so he took all the other smaller cards he had and dumped them in the dustbin. That's the reality a lot of them will be living with now in Rivers State. All those who thought they amounted to anything. Now you've brought a sole administrator who is not even from the state.
Yes.
And who will choose who to work with. Even if he's Wike's friend, he is not going to reconstitute the full machinery that belonged to Wike. They will have pro-Fubara forces to contend with. So, whereas this will appear to create what you might call a bit of a watershed, okay, now they remove those who are quarreling, you're not going to have peace in Rivers State. If you decide to fully militarize, being that the sole administrator is a military person, it has implications for perceptions of democracy, for perceptions of inclusion, among so many other things. So, it's thrown up a lot of variables that need to be unbundled.
Now, the optics are very, very high for all major stakeholders. For the president, for Fubara, for Wike himself. But let me talk about those that were advising, because we saw the 2 sides of a divide in the build-up to the protracted disagreement or rift between the 2 major contenders. And many people said they didn't help matters. We had elders who were advising Governor Siminala Fubara to hold on to what he believed and to continue to fight his benefactor. And we've also had Wike never sheathed his sword and always taking advantage of media chat to talk, exacerbating the crisis. What do you think?
Well, certainly they could have had better. Both parties could have been better advised. Asking Fubara to go on and not back down is predicated on the clear knowledge that he is now chief security officer. He has control of the state's resources, and therefore he shouldn't allow anybody to push him around. The other leg of that presumed solid position is that he did not descend from heaven into that position, that it was a facilitated position, and that you could be the chief executive and chief security officer, and there are forces that could still shake the chair you're sitting on. That has become apparent at the moment. So that's the issue. But going back to whether both parties are well advised, I'll take 1 or 2 things. From the angle of Wike, the subsumed point that Fubara didn't really come out with, there were allegations that, he wanted to control this and that, including resources, and that was going to happen. For me, I think that Fubara probably started fighting Wike too early into his tenure. Way too early. And trying to do some real exclusion. Because my comments on this matter will have to always be objective. It's about our nation, it's a part of our nation called Rivers State, and these are fellow citizens. The gladiators are not fighting about how to make life better for the Rivers State people. They've deployed huge billions in cases going to one court or the other. It's Rivers state money flying out of the state and not servicing the state. So the fight started too early on his part. You recall an incident. I think there was some things Fubara was commissioning not too long after being sworn in. Sheyi Makinde was there. He was on the high table. Wike was sitting in one funny corner. Yeah. And when they were heading towards this thing, he was trailing behind. I think he carried it well, but it was really humiliating to see that. Which is not to say he must be on the high table. But the point is, the fight started too early. You should have taken time. That's when you speak of power politics. There are 3 levels: acquisition, consolidation, and use. He only acquired, he hadn't consolidated and started to use a power that was still germinating. That's why he got into trouble too quickly. Let's assume that Wike was making unreasonable demands or wanting to control everything, including local governments. Did you have to take him on immediately? Certainly, the new people, he said he was extended for 6 months, isn't it? Yeah. And have a 4-year tenure in the first instance. Is for you to know how to navigate those structures and persons, knowing that you are the #1 citizen in the place, knowing that you have the resources of the state at your discretion, at your disposal, and part of it to be spent at your discretion, knowing that the people whose tenure has been extended for 6 months would also want to survive beyond the 6 months, and preferably with whoever is in charge. And they're going to see your power grow within those 6 months. What you ought to do is to use that 6 months to make your power grow, to reassure the person who put you there, and to then reassure them also. But you can be sure that, being that you're the one on the ground and the person who put them is in Abuja, many of them will begin to gravitate towards you. So the strategy of immediate 100% domination was a mistaken strategy by Fubara. If he had advisors urging him in that direction, it was a mistake. In the case of Wike also, how he took him on, I remember I had commented in public that, you know, it's slightly unsafe, if you like, unwise to take on somebody who was your chief accountant and who then threatened to probe you. But the other side of it is, if you're probing him, you're also going to be in the line of fire because you were the one validating all transactions. All things considered, this has been what I might call an exercise in tomfoolery on both sides. For now, it would appear that Wike is triumphant. The question is, for how long? For how long? The other concern is for Wike to ask himself, am I really making friends? For him to ask himself, apart from the presidency, where else does my power come from? You know, so, and he has you referred to the press conference. Yes, the press conference was quite an event on its own. A little concerning for me, given the fact that even the journalists didn't quite have enough chance to ask questions, and that he spoke. But you see, you can't take away a man's nature from him. He always speaks from his heart. You may have your challenge with the optics, but that is Wike, as he's known to be. Back in those days, some people were known for this kind of blunt and absolutely almost outrageous frankness. You had Paul Unongo from the Middle Belt. You had Chief K.O. Mbadiwe. You had several people like that all over the country. Wike is who he is. But I believe he should be managed in such a way that going forward, he draws more positives than negatives. Because in all of this talk, in all of this quarrel, everybody has forgotten that if you go to Rivers State today, and think of what it was before Wike became governor, you won't believe it's the same place in terms of infrastructure. Now, for how long has he been here as Minister of FCT? Are we not? It's looking like a modern capital. That's right. Of a serious nation. All of this is being drowned in name calling and you know, mutual exchange of insults. You must also acknowledge a man's strong points while draw his attention to the shortcomings so that he does something about it. We want a full package.
Okay, so Prof, you earlier alluded to the fact that you may not totally agree with the reasons adduced by Mr. President to declare a state of emergency, but the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria in Section 305, subsection 3, specifically outlined conditions within which the president can invoke his powers to declare a state of emergency. Number one is war or external aggression against Nigeria, imminent danger of invasion or war, a breakdown of public order and safety to such an extent that ordinary legal measures are insufficient, a clear danger to Nigeria's existence, occurrence of any disaster or natural calamity affecting a state or a part of it. And lastly, such other public danger that constitute a threat to the Federation. You have mentioned the fact that bombs have started exploding. And do you think these are sufficient grounds?
Take the third point you made and the last again.
The third point, a breakdown of public order and safety to such an extent that ordinary legal measures are insufficient, and then such other public danger that constitute a threat to the Federation.
So beginning with the last point, such other public danger that constitutes a threat.
A threat.
In other words, a threat is a possibility of harm and danger.
Exactly.
Bombings started with the pipelines. Let us suppose I'm a supporter of one of the two men who are fighting. And I don't like how they've treated the people who are supporting my men. You know, I can do something without consultation.
Yes.
Did it occur to anybody, for instance, that the place they locked, the legislators' quarters, if that's what it's called, that somebody could have bombed that place and it won't be Fubara who sent him?
Yeah.
Did it occur to us that somebody could decide to also bomb a facility belonging either to Fubara or his supporters? So the threat exists of further breakdown of public peace. Let's not delude ourselves.
Yeah.
The NBA, you are aware, has gone on air to say that the president had no, that it was unconstitutional, the action. NBA clearly would have better legal, would be better informed than myself on the legal intricacies involved on whether it's constitutional. But speaking from my standpoint and noting the conditions you've observed, was there, if you like, disruptive action? Yes. Is there a possibility of escalation? Yes.
Yes.
Is that likely to lead eventually to substantial breakdown of law and order and public peace? Yes. To that extent, the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and who also is President and Chief Security Officer, not only that he has a duty, but he has an advantage you and I don't possess. He may have security reports we don't have.
Yes.
In which case, he sees an emergency we are yet to see, and probably for national security reasons decides, take the action. You don't have to put all the information in the public domain, because it could even create panic and worsen whatever you have. So it's all right to debate the propriety of that action, but we must not overlook the circumstances that led to it. My only concern, which I consider a drawback, is the detail of the text. If I was prepared to prepare such a text for the president, there's no way I will include the tendentious implications. It's also called fellow Nigerians. As you are aware, this and that is happening in Rivers State. It's become a matter of concern because there's a progressive deterioration of public peace. Bombings have begun with threats of more bombing, etc. You go along those lines in order in the service of public peace and to avoid further de-escalation, and especially because neither the executive nor the legislative arm is in control of the state, and the forces for state administration is in the national interest and in the interest of the people of Rivers State to declare a state of emergency, which means that the situation is such that is provided when the legal processes. If you bomb, who will? Okay, they locked out the governor. Exactly. You want to take them to court? It's not going to. So events built up to this, and it was avoidable.
Well, let's talk about the involvement of the National Assembly in this issue. You know, subsection 2 of the same constitutional provision in section 305 provides that a proclamation issued by the president under this section shall cease to have effect, A, if it is not approved by a resolution of the National Assembly within 2 days when the National Assembly is in session, or B, if the National Assembly is not in session within 10 days after it reconvenes. But we are not told if if everything is it will be shrouded in some secrecy.
No, any secrecy anymore. I mean, we are told that the matter has now been taken to the National Assembly after the declaration.
Yes.
The question would be, is it to happen by the provisions of the Constitution? Should it happen before, should it be taken to the Assembly before declaration?
Before declaration.
Or after declaration? Fantastic legal and constitutional issue. But let's move to real politics.
Okay.
I don't know if you've ever got a letter or a text message from a mosquito saying, I'm going to give you malaria.
No, I haven't.
It just bites you.
It just bites me.
If your commander-in-chief chief security officer, you are deemed competent to determine when there is a situation that will even ask you to declare war before you swallow the food you're about to put in your mouth.
That's right.
Now, it is not criminal to act in urgency.
Okay.
Therefore, while the provision is there, you ask yourself, 10 days, within 2 days, okay, I have to wait for 10 days. The invaders have crossed Niger State. They are heading this way. That's and all of that. So that's speaking of it at the theoretical, constitutional, and legal level. In terms of the reality on the ground, like I said, there might be security reports, but we cannot fail to acknowledge that even if, and I believe there is, sufficient reason for the declaration based on whatever reports they have, especially after bombings, the wording of the declaration could have been slightly different from what it is. But for me to proceed from there and extrapolate and say, oh, you know, because he didn't consult the National Assembly, you said he has to consult them within 2 days. Yes. Although what is they said, I didn't hear you say within 2 days before.
Before.
Or within 2 days after. Or within 2 days.
Within 2 days.
Let's even assume it's before. You cannot consult anybody on how to be a boxer when you're being beaten up. That's not when to learn the skill.
Exactly. That's
when you buy a generator, not when NEPA take light, but when you have full light. So in the circumstance, the only drawback I see is the fact that it's looking like it's looking like it's one-sided. That's the only drawback. But Rivers State has been too volatile for anybody to joke with it, frankly. Way too volatile. And now all the muscle flexing. This should be a lesson for everybody outside River State.
I was about to ask that.
They were so, permit the expression, foolish. Everybody adopted an extreme position. You want 100% victory here. These people also want 100% the victory. And I've said it before and I'll repeat it again. You go for a fight like this is the maximum position. This one comes with its maximum position. Okay, can we move down from our maximum positions and take on a position that's feasible, that everybody can live with? If the answer is you begin to make concessions. Now the determination, Fubara must be impeached. Even his letter won't respond. Where do you think you are and who do you think you are? In a vulnerable space? Because now where are they today? Dumped.
Exactly.
Even if the new administrator is aligned on their side, let's assume, without conceding, and decides to take some of them, 3 things will happen. He will only take a few. Because all of them have baggage right now of perception. He'll be careful who to pick without being seen to be on this side. That's number 1. Number 2, even if he's been sent there to do the bidding of one party, right now he's sole administrator, in control of the resources, and a man who has to also leave his own legacy, who has to also tell his creator, this was what I did. He may go there and lo and behold, he'll see what he didn't know before he was being sent. And he could then determine that, look, no, this won't go like this. You know, you recall Murtala coup. The army took over in 1966. Murtala saw decay had also entered with his colleagues. He took over to correct what was wrong with Nigeria. What was one of the first steps? He said also, there were resources that I got by improper means. He started by returning it. So those who probably had thought, oh, we'll go in and continue, will be off his team, if that was their thinking. So nobody knows what will happen with this new sole administrator. He may come there and discover that both sides have really bastardized a lot of things. And some spirit, some thought or volition may descend on him. No, even if this is the last thing I do, before God and man, I must make River State, I must set the right pillars so that somebody coming, whether after 6 months or whatever, will have something to build on, and this sort of confusion won't return. If you have that, then the mischief makers may be in for a rough ride.
Well, you know, we've come full circle, and let me mention this. In May 2013, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu himself condemned the declaration of a state of emergency by, you know, in Borno, Yobe, and Adama as a dangerous. He referred to it as a dangerous assault on democracy, yes, and employed to rig the 2015 elections. And let me quote what he said here: "The body language of the Jonathan administration leads any keen watcher of events, you know, to the unmistakable conclusion of the existence of a surreptitious but barely disguised intention to muzzle the elected government of these states for what is clearly a display of unpardonable mediocrity and diabolic partnership geared towards 2015 general elections. It sounds like a deja vu because, I'm sure there will be pushbacks already from other Nigerians and stakeholders and opposition political parties, and I believe the Tinubu administration will not swallow this because they will find it as a bitter pill to swallow.
What now is a bitter pill?
The
reminder.
Kind of the reminder
quite
of
frankly,
what he said.
Yes, quite frankly, I believe that we should have a greater understanding of power politics. You can grumble. It's not against the law.
It's not against.
You cannot interfere with what I've decided to do. Now, those statements made by Tinubu at that time, remember he was opposition.
He was opposition.
Was he going to be saying what will make you happy?
No.
He has to make you look bad because he wants to take over from you.
So in the same vein.
In the same vein, they will attack him.
They will attack him.
Now, at that time, we can say, oh, all that time he was talking, there were matters or details he didn't know. And somebody can say the same thing. Oh, there are details also we don't know at the moment. Now, the opposition has a duty to sit up. They are just idling around and waiting to find something the government has done bad, and they'll say, no, they didn't do this. Please, what is it the opposition is doing? In the parties that are in control of do you have good governance? Do you have internal party democracy? Do you have development? It is such records that some people would say, see, they're in power, but see what we've done in this small place. We want to come back to the center. So all this chatter is understandable. And I think that's part all of it leading also to, I think they say they are forming some kind of coalition. Yes. Well, I'm sure we bring that up later. But on the matter of the opposition, no, it's only natural they should criticize it. They should also remind him. And if I'm in his position and I get such reminder, I will then tell myself, okay, I had better be sure nothing I do will undermine democracy, that sort of thing. But that's their problem, really. Both the president and those opposing him, that is their problem. Okay,
Prof, let's talk about, you already earlier mentioned the enormous task before the administrator, the sole administrator, and you also reiterated the fact that he has, to decide what to do. Let's play a short video clip on the profile, an abridged profile of the newly appointed sole administrator of Rivers State before we come back to the studio, and I will ask you whether is it as a result of military hangover that whenever there is a state of emergency, we don't bring we bring a military man. Let's have a look.
Vice Admiral Ikeckukwu Ibas retired, whose appointment as administrator of Rivers State was announced by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu on Tuesday, served as the 22nd Chief of the Naval Staff of the Nigerian Navy from July 2015 until his retirement in January 2021. His appointment follows the declaration of state of emergency in the state. The president had declared state of emergency in the wake of vandalization of oil pipelines in the state. Tinubu said amid the destruction of oil infrastructure, ex-governor Siminalayi Fubara failed to reach out to him.
In the meantime, I hereby nominate Vice Admiral Ikeckukwu Ibas, retired, as administrator to take charge of the affairs of the state and the interests of the good people of Rivers State.
Ibas was born in Ikeckukwu, Cross River State, South Nigeria. He enlisted into the Nigerian Defense Academy as a member of 26 regular corps on 20th June 1979 and was commissioned sub-lieutenant on 1st January 1983. He began his primary education at Nko Primary School, Nko, in 1966 and completed at Big Kwa Primary School, Calabar, in 1971. Between 1977 and 1979, he attended the School of Basic Studies, Ogoja, before proceeding to Nigerian Defense Academy in 1979. Ibas has attended several military courses at home and abroad, including the sub-lieutenant technical course at INS Vendurutti in India from April 1983 to May 1984, and primary pilot training at the 301 Primary Flying Training School at Nigerian Air Force Base in Kaduna from April 1986 to October 1987. He proceeded to the Armed Forces Command and Staff College, Jaji, Kaduna in 1990 and completed the Junior Staff course in June of the same year. In July 1992, he reported at the amphibious Warfare School of the United States Marine Corps University in Quantico, Virginia, US, and graduated with a diploma in amphibious warfare in May 1993. In February 1994, Ibas commenced the officer's long course specializing in underwater warfare at the Underwater Warfare School, NNS, Kwara, and completed the same in February 1995. From August 1996 to July 1997, he returned to the prestigious Armed Forces Command and Staff College, Jaji, where he completed the senior staff course with excellent grades. He is also an alumnus of the National Defense College, Islamabad, Pakistan. Having completed...
Well, that was Zainab Akogu with an abridged profile of the newly appointed sole administrator of Rivers State. Prof, we have a culture in this country. You know, you and I are witnesses to military state of emergency declared by previous government. A president has been set before. Now President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is not doing anything new, you know. But my worry is that rather than appoint, you know, technocrats or professionals such as you that have, you know, they have carved a niche in peace building and things like that, we fall for retired military generals. Is it because of is it as a result of military hangover, or what is it? I don't really get it.
It's not military hangover. It's the issue of security.
Okay.
Now, you don't have so many civilians, with all due respect to all of us, who have hands-on exposure in that context. But let's limit it to Rivers State.
Okay.
Who will you go and appoint sole administrator in Rivers State?
Other than a military?
No, not other than a military. His partisanship cannot be totally discountenanced. It doesn't mean that the military person might not be partisan.
Yeah.
So let's aggregate the possible considerations. You need, if you bring a civilian, is likely to have some form of political loyalty. Even if he doesn't, does he have the strength to withstand all of this? Even if he has the strength, does he have the hands-on experience? Somebody can then say, no, if you get a technocrat, you know, who is not partisan, he hasn't come to play politics, you put him in charge without prejudice to the value, intelligence, and the exposure of technocrats. More than 90% of them do not have the capacity for handling real-life situations. It is one thing to talk about peace building and hold seminars on it. It's another thing to manage the security forces in a volatile environment. So let's not deceive ourselves. It's possible you can take that decision in obedience to, oh, it's a democracy. But when you appoint, you said it's a state of emergency. The primary consideration is security and the space people can live in. And the suspicion, the consideration, the other thought is that somebody with a strong military exposure, with experience in maintaining peace in, if you like, complex environments. He's been former chief of naval staff, and you recall that all these bunkering matters are security issues connected with the creeks and the riverine area, and he's been sent to administer a place like that. With his military background, it's you know that what the governors keep complaining about every day is that they are not in charge of security. That the police commissioner doesn't report to him, he reports to the IG. Now you have a military administrator, you're going to have what you might call simply interagency cooperation and collaboration. What it means is that, okay, if we're having a joint operation and it's the Navy, the Army will be involved, Air Force will be involved. Now, the supported commander, the commander will be the Navy thing, because the Navy man, because it's a water operation. Now the supporting commander will be the garrison or whoever is on land. Another supporting could be Air Force, could be the civil defense. Now, having gotten to that level, he understands interagency cooperation and collaboration. He knows the rules of engagement for security in every sense of the word. He's not going to call the Army and the Navy and hold a meeting and say, you know, we have to get these people to be of good behavior. He knows the terminology. Fortunately, in this case, he knows the terrain. He knows what he needs to do. That is not the same thing as saying that everybody with a military background is ideal.
Okay.
Because your corps in the military, if you're a medical corps, you've spent all your time, you're wearing the uniform of a brigadier, but you've been given injections as a medical doctor. You can't take a syringe to battle. Well, unless you're fighting malaria, you know. So within the context of all of that, we can sit here and complain, oh no, we're going back to military rule. Tell me, frankly, take away all the development interventions we had during the military. Power, national and airline and all the rest of it. Please, what have we got in 25 years of democracy? You see, there's a certain professional discipline, commitment to achieving desired result as part of their training. Now, if you're trained like that and in addition you have the national interest at heart, what's going to happen is that you follow projects that deliver end states for national development. So I'm not sure it's about a fixation. It's a fixation on security and the type of personnel that can guarantee security in a volatile environment. When you speak of volatile, I use the expression because there was this lecture I had to give twice at the Army War College, war in complex environments. When you're speaking of war in complex environments, most people will think of, terrain, maybe it's waterlogged.
Okay.
There's also what you call complex political environment. Who will you listen to bring peace in Rivers State? It can't be either of the parties. The peace must belong to the people. Therefore, the interests of these parties, make sure you understand them. And then ask yourself, if I address these interests, is there any other third party? If the answer is no, you can't do it. The third party, which is the primary party, is the people. Okay. Yeah. So those are the considerations. It's not about being fixated, with all due respect.
So against the backdrop of the ongoing challenges, his appointment could be said to be strategic.
Very strategic, with national security in focus, among other things. But it doesn't then translate that. Supposing he appointed a retired brigadier general or a retired major general who was in the education corps, a very vital corps, but not the same as having had to deal with theater operations in terms of war, etc. As commander and all that.
Now, all these activities, political activities, are causing a lot of disruptions in the political space, no doubt, which is also affecting the political dynamics. And now, many observers believe that they are all geared towards the 2027 general election. It is about structure. Now, using the prism of your analytical mind, Prof, what do you see playing out, futuristically speaking?
No, let's begin with those who are forming a coalition.
A coalition,
to throw away APC.
APC. It's all part of the permutations.
I'm just amused. You know why? Daydreaming is not against the law.
Okay.
Self-deception is not against the law. Reality exists in spite of any arbitrary law you make.
That's right.
Now, APC could displace PDP because it was very well structured. Because it was driven by determined people who had a clear idea of what to do, smear, stigmatize, and demonize PDP in national and international consciousness, undermine it from within by playing an ethnic card. And so 5 governors left that party and they formed a coalition that took over the government. Now the current coalition, alleged coalition being contemplated, start by checking the age bracket of those who are pushing it. Where are the young people in that party? That's number one. That's aspiration. Number 2, and very critically, what is it they're telling you they want to do for Nigeria? Number 3, they say they want to remove the bad government of APC. Certainly we are not having it rough. I didn't vote for APC. But that's the government. If you want to oppose it, structure for your opposition. For every policy, bring an alternative that's better. I want a better Nigeria, not opposition. So the job of the opposition is to help force the government in power to give me good governance. Are they doing that? But taking all of this apart, let's look further into the whole business of the coalition. How many of them do not want to be president? So if we're forming a coalition and aspiring to be president, everybody wants to be president.
That's right.
You're not going anywhere. Are you calling Atiku? Because the Erufai invited Atiku, Peter, and a few others to join him. Atiku will come to join for another person to be president. It will never happen.
It will never happen. And
also, you're calling people who have also had previous business with you, who have had cases where they spoke of betrayal. So, and remember there was a third force.
Yes.
Being at that time to take on Buhari and all of that. I looked at the list of names. I said, this is a no force. It's not first or second or third. So this whole thing, they would answer. They may come up eventually because the SDP is also a platform that has, it has an excellent chairman, Shehu Gabam. Yes. You know, intelligent, he knows and all of that. But even he has to be careful. Already the party's presidential candidate in the last election has won. Yes, Adewale has told them that I'm here. Yes. This is my party. So what she is also saying then is that whoever is coming to support me as a candidate of whatever we agree on. I know that for many that will not happen. What we need to, we will watch the permutations. But I don't see it strong enough. Most of those driving it are old. Yeah. When I say old, yes, you're not talking about just being 50, over 60. And we're not seeing any template. We're also not seeing anything you're doing that will make us say, oh, unlike APC, you're wonderful. They're looking for a special purpose vehicle to take power at the federal level. So I'm yet to see what it is. That's what you might call the value proposition. Okay. It's, to an extent, at the risk of sounding mischievous, it might for now be a temporary alliance of the aggrieved. And their grievance is not about Nigerians, it's about what they've lost out. Those who are not happy, who thought they should get some things from the Tinubu government, which they didn't. Those who are thinking that where they are may not accommodate them. Those who are freelance, you know, position seekers. If I go there and make enough trouble, they will notice me. And if the government comes, they'll give me appointment. There are also those who would want to join this coalition with their eye on APC. When I go out, they will want me to come back. I will make so much trouble for them that they will call me. At least even during the next government, they will give me an appointment. All these are the calculations. But for anybody to start crying that the world is coming to an end, not on this at the moment. But at the same time, APC shouldn't be complacent. Before
the coalition even takes off the ground, there are cracks, you know, emerging cracks, because Sule Lamido, former governor of Jigawa State, has accused Malam Nasir El-Rufai of being driven by emotions and not national interest. Just to add to what you said.
Yes. And you know, Sule is a very frank, one of the most robust politicians. Sule Lamido wanted to contest for presidency. I remember I was one of those invited to, you know, to aid in that campaign. Well, the first thing I requested of him, which he complied with, was, I need to go to your state, sir.
To do what?
To meet you among your people.
Okay.
Also to see some of your former classmates. Do you know that Sule Lamido brought them for breakfast? About 5 of them. Old men. We went round Jigawa. So he didn't know what I was doing. I was checking out all the projects. I was embarrassed to discover that I couldn't find any project of substance that was not done by Sule Lamido.
Okay.
So I asked him, so what did you walk into? What Jigawa state was in existence when you became? So Sule Lamido is not in the league of all these children people who are running up and down. I know he's frank, blunt, to some extent imperial and almost a terrorist, because he's convinced about his own certainties. And he knows what he's saying. Now, take away those who have offended Nasir.
Yeah.
What else is he putting on the table? He's cheated by this, by APC, treated badly. And honestly, in fairness to him, he's not been well treated. But the other question is that not his fault? That's the question he should ask himself. What's the opinion of those I've interacted with over the years? When they talk about me behind my back, what do they say? Do they say I'm dependable? Those are some of the things everyone should ask himself when he discovers that people are treating him or her in a certain way. And I think it's the kind of thing Nasir El-Rufai should also ask himself.
Prof, we're winding down, and I want us to talk with you, to still remain with someone that is in the eye of the storm. You know, the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, he has just revoked over 4,000 titles in Abuja, the nation's capital, including the National Secretary of his own political party. What are the implications? If there
the implications are simple. There are rules of engagement of property ownership, use, and management. If you violate those rules, they have consequences. You've been in a place, you know there's land rent. It's part of what you knew as a matter of fact, as the legal conditions precedent, so to say, for you to own the land, and you've not been paying it. You're in default, you're culpable, and if there are consequences, they will apply. So if the consequence as provided by law includes revocation, Wike has only done his duty. And importantly, also made it public. Because what you find is that at that higher level, it's taken for granted that once you're a big man, you don't have to pay tax. You don't have to do so many things at the expense of the state. And the person who is poor is the only one they can go and lock his gate, and they force him to do it. So the number is quite interesting. So when I read it, it gave me some concern in terms of and how to administer. Then I looked more closely and saw that I think there were some that was given 2 weeks. 2 weeks. And all of that. But the important thing is that the list of those who are in default is in the public domain.
Yes.
And revocation or threat of revocation, if it's provided for in the statutes, then the minister is doing what he ought to do. And that money should be recovered. The other thing I think he should do is to publish probably within the next 1 or 2 weeks the number of those who have complied and how much the FCT has generated from it as proof of the money that belongs to us that some people have just refused to deliver over the years. That will also make for good optics. So I'm not, if you don't want to do a job, don't take it. Yeah.
And you know, one thing, Prof, he doesn't seem to be distracted with the fight in Rivers State because it has not affected, you know, his pragmatism, his approach to development.
From what I see, he has a peculiar temperament. You see, I've had cause to write about him in the media 3-4 times. The first time was when he gave marching orders to his local government chairman to, if an illegal refinery is found in your place, I throw you out.
Yes, I remember that.
Then the other one was when he revealed how much money all the governors were given, others didn't say. He used his own to be doing projects, etc. And I think he got here. Centenary City had been held down for more than 8 years. Because of funny politics, he gave them marching orders. Yeah. Centenary City and FCD, FCTA resolve this matter now. In closed doors, you have 6 hours. Today, both parties are working smooth. I also wrote about that. Now, I admire that aspect of Wike. In fact, you've seen how many times over time I've written about him while he's doing something good. But I don't know who he is. I don't have his phone number. Yeah. When somebody is doing the right thing in a particular area, say yes. But that doesn't mean you endorse him fully. Let all ministers, all governors, do 30% of what Wike is doing in Abuja.
Exactly.
You will have a different Nigeria. We can't ignore that. So that for me is exciting. But I have no relationship with him and I'm not aspiring for any. But then, moving it to the matter of distraction, there are people who have more energy than sometimes they know what to do with. Wike seems to be that kind of person who can multitask.
Yeah.
He's doing this at the same time. He's shooting at Fubara. He's all of that together. That seems to be his own endowment. But on this River State matter, he should be careful about the optics. The growing public perception is not doing him too much good. If you remember too, which is not the same as how he's seen in the presidency. In the president's last discussion with journalists, they asked him about Wike. He said, I doff my hat for him.
That's what he said.
Yeah, you know. So all of these are perspectives. What I find unacceptable is the extremism with which people present their perspectives and insist on it. Only the Almighty knows whoever is totally evil. So when you say, kill Fubara, he's the worst human being on earth, I'll say, how do you know? If you say, get rid of Wike, we've never seen anything more terrible, I'll ask you, how do you know? He's a human being, he's in a public domain, all of us have our shortcomings, some of it less visible because we are in one small corner and imagining that we are better than the rest, and because we are very good at saying waka to those who we think are not good. No. Overall progressive maturity is what we need. More honest acknowledgement of faults that are not just in others but also in us, but above all, the determination wherever you are, do what you know is right. If everybody does what is right where he is, but over and above all of this, leadership, effective leadership. You know, I think it was Uthman Danfodio who said that the leader is like a pure spring in a community. If a spring is pure and is bringing out water, progressively, there will be no death. But if a spring is impure, it will start with the first people who fed. Progressively, the entire place will be polluted.
Yes.
Leadership is critical.
Well, Prof, I thank you most profoundly for finding time to come to join me on the Polity this auspicious afternoon. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We're going to invite you very, very soon. So that
No problem.
there are so many topics to talk about, and you are an interviewer's delight, I must say. Thank you, Prof.
Thank you.
Well, we're going to take a short break. When we return, the program continues. Please don't go anywhere. Stay with us. We'll be right back. You're welcome back. If you're just joining us, you're still tuned to The Polity, reaching you live from the Abuja studios of King Adebayo Film and Theatre Arts Network, popularly known as KAFTAN Television, where we imagine a beautiful world. Professor Ikeckukwu has been with me in the studios, and he has done justice to the topic. We're talking about the state of emergency in River State that was declared yesterday, the 13th day of March 2025, by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, because it's against the backdrop of the crisis that was about to engulf the state following the judgment of the Supreme Court. The telephone line will be displayed right away on our line so that you begin to call in. Jibrin is calling us from Gwagwalada. Jibrin, go ahead, please.
Oh, sir, thank you, Macauley.
Thank you, Jibrin.
In fact, I think I told you that if the venture do this thing, crisis will run in Niger River State.
That's what you said.
I told you clearly.
You said so.
So, and you can see what is happening now.
Yeah.
Even the state of emergency that the Tinubu declared that is against what is put live on my radio television today. That is unrepellable and barbaric, and now he went and do the same thing. What he stop people not to do, that is the same thing he's doing.
Yeah.
Thank you, and I'm very grateful for you. People are always ahead of us, whatever that want to happen. God will bless you people.
Thank you. God bless you too, Jibrin from Gwagwalada. We appreciate you. Please do call in so that we can hear you, what you think. And well, a sole administrator has been appointed by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu following the declaration of state of emergency in River State, and his name is Ibok Ete-Ekwe Ibas. He is a retired vice admiral and former chief of the naval staff, a position he held from 2015 to 2021. He is not an indigene of River State. He was born in Unko, Cross River State, South Nigeria, on September 27, 1960. Let's listen to Awusko. Awusko is joining us from Kaduna. Awusko, go ahead with your contribution.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, Awusko. Were you watching from the beginning?
No, I came halfway.
Okay.
I came halfway.
But did you listen to Professor Ikeckukwu?
Yeah, I listened to you.
Okay, go ahead, Awusko. Let me hear your thoughts.
I was quite surprised at this declaration of state of emergency.
You were not
surprised because
were you not expecting it anytime soon?
I not envisage them going that way, that route, because I know him to be a Democrat and one of those pro-democrats who fought the military, and I never expected that he's going to take the same route in which Obasanjo took, and he was critical of that move of Obasanjo during that time. I thought he was going to take a matured one like Jonathan did. But you see, that is the bane of our politicians. The hypocritical aspect of our politicians is demeaning. You talk something and you don't act. What you preach, you don't practice. I was expecting him to kind of do some diplomatic means to settle these things. But since he has gone this way, I have nothing to say. He's the commander-in-chief. But as I told you earlier on, the new and if you listen to the speech of the president, all he was doing was cheating the governor. He was not cheating the architect of the Buhari that is coming there, which is the minister, which said that heaven will fall even if Buhari is removed. And And when the heavens are beginning to fall, the president instantly instituted state of emergency, which means the president and the wiki are the ones who are benefiting from this system now. Because you see, Rivers State is the cash cow of Nigeria. And now the administrator is going to have access to it. And he's going to do the bidding of the president and wiki. And the people of Rivers State are going to be the loser. But they are demeaning democracy. As I told you, that democracy in Nigeria might be an aberration. It's counter-democracy. It's for themselves, their cronies, and their whatever.
Okay.
But God is there for us.
Yes.
I hope this issue be settled amicably so that the governor and the House of Assembly of Rivers State be settled to work for the people of Rivers State. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Awusko. We're being joined by Matthew from Edo. Matthew is a senior colleague in the journalistic profession. Jibrin from Gwagwalada. Okay, we have lost the caller. Awusko is a regular caller, and he has already, given us his reaction over this issue, that of state of emergency that was declared by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu yesterday, the 13th day of March 2025. Let me hear from you. What do you think of the sole administrator that was appointed? Matthew from Edo is trying to call us. Please, Matthew, do not hesitate. Do not get despaired. Do not be tired of trying to reach us so that we can hear from you with regards to this topical issue, state of emergency in Rivers State. Beatrice from Nasarawa. Beatrice from Nasarawa, you're welcome to the Polity. Go ahead.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, Beatrice. Your voice is very, very low. Could you raise it a bit?
It's okay. The other day, that is one of the complaints. I really appreciate the KAFTAN TV.
Okay.
The program you people are holding.
We appreciate you for always finding time to call in.
Thank you. I just want to comment on the state of emergency.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
If you to be kind, it has changed the body language in the political era. And I think it is just the only option for now. Otherwise, it's not the best way of solving the problem. But that is the only option now. Why? Because these people were trying to impeach, and I'm not even interested for Barra to be impeached. The only thing is that let them sit down in a round table and resolve it. But where I'm not so happy with the president is the wiki. Wiki is supposed to be also be suspended from his own party, so that at any point in time, issues already resolved, all of them can go back to their own area.
Okay.
But I'm looking at wiki as if it's an accompaniment to Nigeria. If to say we voted him into power, we don't know what he will do to Nigeria himself. Nigeria would have been a worse area than as it is now. So I advise that wiki should also be suspended.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Pastor Rotimi.
Thank you.
Pastor Rotimi from Akoko, Ondo State. Good afternoon, Pastor. You're a regular caller. Go ahead, please.
The issue of river safety.
Turn down the volume of your TV, Pastor, and then go ahead.
Is very, very fast to hear of the state of emergency. River State is the
Cash cow.
economic oil boom where we are all expecting goodies to come for all Nigerians.
Yeah.
Well, the president has done the right thing in order to protect our oil base. By declaring state of emergency in Rivers State, I pray it will not escalate to any civil disturbance, and it will not bring back all those people people that are always bombing our oil oil pipelines. So I want all the people of Ijaw to please sheath their sword.
Okay.
And allow peace to reign in their state.
Thank you.
We don't want war in Nigeria.
Okay.
Neither do we want it in River State.
Thank you, Pastor.
God bless you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Jibrin, you're welcome back again.
Yes, sir. I run short of time, I think.
From Gwagwalada, go ahead, Jibrin. It's your show.
Sir, I always thank you people because you prepare people ahead and what is happening will come a reality. Thanks and God bless you people all. The person he put as a sole administrator, Ebon Eke, sir, if Tinubu want to a real fact, a retired person is not supposed to come as a sole administrator in right terminology. It's an incumbent service government or military that need to be there. It's a retired, which means you want to favor the man. So two, Mweke should be removed. Hello?
I can hear you. Go ahead.
Mweke should be removed because this is the architect of this problem. He also should be suspended. If not, document it today. There is going to be between Mweke and president before he finishes his tenure. Thank you, sir. Document it today.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
I'm not replying to I'm speaking because I'm called someone to you people. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Jibrin from Gwagwalada.
I'm grateful.
We appreciate you. Hello, good afternoon. Your name and where you're calling from?
My name is Suleiman Hadi from Kebbi State.
Suleiman Hadi from Kebbi State.
From Kogi State.
From Kogi, Ramadan Kareem. Suleiman, go ahead.
Good evening. Good evening, sir. I thank Mr. President for all what he did now.
Okay. Turn down the volume of your TV, Suleiman. Turn down the volume.
Sorry. When this fight starts, are we not in Nigeria? We are all in Nigeria. Those people are calling for why President declare emergency on this state now. Are we not in Nigeria? We see what is happening in River State. What Mr. President did now is a welcome development. It can happen in many states. Since you think you are more than God. Both Wike and Fubara are citizens of River State, but they are disturbing people in that region. Why? Are them only the state in Nigeria? But let people caution Wike and Fubara. Let the peace reign. May God allow us to make peace in that state.
Amen.
Thank you.
I say amen to that. Well, Suleiman from Kogi said Wike should be suspended, and we ended with a prayer that may there be peace in our land, Nigeria. And I say amen to that. Please let me hear your thoughts. Call in. We have another caller. Please go ahead. Your name and where you're calling from.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Your name, please.
I am I'm calling from Niger State.
Okay. Your voice is very, very low. Please do call back. Let me hear from you. We are being joined by Matthew from Edo. Matthew is a senior colleague. Matthew, go ahead. Hello, go ahead. Well, state of emergency has been declared in is no longer news. What is news is that everybody is talking about it, and let's take this caller. Hello, good afternoon.
Hello.
Yeah, good afternoon. Go ahead.
I'm Hamad. I'm calling from Niger State.
Aman, you are a regular caller. Go ahead.
Okay. I want to comment on the declaration of the state of emergency in Rivers.
Beg your pardon. Go ahead.
I want to start by saying those people saying the president was right, what he did was right, was legal and constitutional. I think they have they are totally ignorant of the law, or I don't know how to describe it. The section that gives the president the power to declare a state of emergency is section 305 of the Nigerian 1999 Constitution.
Yes.
So if you clearly study the section, the part of the Constitution, you understand that the section is not, the power is not just there. It comes with a lot of conditions that have to be fulfilled before such power is being
exercised.
Being exercised. Thank you. So there should be some level of interference by the president before a step is taken to declare a state of emergency. And since all these issues started, we have not heard anything from the presidency. They kept mute, they fold their arms and watch the situation escalate to this level. So all of a sudden, just to come out and declare a state of emergency, that is wrong. That is that regarding the declaration. Secondly, on the suspension, I don't think there is any law in our constitution that provides for a president to suspend head officer, not only the governor, any elected officer. You have no right whatsoever to declare his seat vacant. You cannot suspend him, you cannot remove him. I'm challenging all those people that are saying the president was right to give us any part of Nigerian law that provides for that power.
Okay.
There is no such power. Even, and people are quoting President Obasanjo that what Obasanjo did during his own term was illegal equally. It was very, very wrong. It was unconstitutional. But there were no people to challenge him. That's why he got away with it. So, same thing President Tinubu is trying to do, but our democracy is matured enough for us to say no.
Okay. Thank you. Matthew from Edo State, our senior colleague. Matthew, it is your turn because it's your show. We have lost Matthew. Matthew is a regular caller. Please do call in. I want to hear from Matthew with regards to this topic. The topic is very, very topical. We are talking about state of emergency in Rivers State that was declared yesterday by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Yesterday, the 13th day of March 2025, and he also installed or rather appointed a sole administrator, a retired chief of naval staff that served in that capacity between 2015 and 2021. Let's take this caller. Hello. We have lost the caller. Like I was saying, Matthew is trying to reach us, and the telephone lines are not friendly at all. It's so embarrassing. Ibok Ete-Ekwe Ibas is a retired vice admiral and former chief of naval staff, a position he held from 2015 to 2021. He was born in Unko, Cross River State, South Nigeria, on September 27, 1960. Let's have a video clip of the new sole administrators of River State as packaged by our own correspondent, Zainab Akogum, from our newsroom. Take a listen.
Vice Admiral Ipokete Ibas retired, whose appointment as administrator of River State was announced by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu on Tuesday, served as the 22nd Chief of the Naval Staff of the Nigerian Navy from July 2015 until his retirement in January 2021. His appointment follows the declaration of state of emergency in the state. The president had declared state of emergency in the wake of vandalization of oil pipelines in the state. Tinubu said amid the destruction of oil infrastructure, ex-governor Siminalayi Fubara failed to reach out to him.
In the meantime, I hereby nominate Vice Admiral Ikeckukwu Ibas, retired, as administrator to take charge of the affairs of the state in the interest of the good people of Rivers State.
Ibas was born in Ikeckukwu, Cross River State, South Nigeria. He enlisted into the Nigerian Defense Academy as a member of 26 regular corps on 20th June 1979 and was commissioned sub-lieutenant on 1st January 1983. He began his primary education at Nko Primary School, Nko, in 1966 and completed at Big Kwa Primary School, Calabar, in 1971. Between 1977 and 1979, he attended the School of Basic Studies, Ogoja, before proceeding to Nigerian Defense Academy in 1979. Ibas has attended several military courses at home and abroad, including the Sub-Lieutenant Technical course at INS Vendurutti in India from April 1983 to May 1984, and primary pilot training at the 301 Primary Flying Training School at Nigerian Air Force Base in Kaduna from April 1986 to October 1987. He proceeded to the Armed Forces Command and Staff College, Jaji, Kaduna in 1990 and completed the Junior Staff course in June of the same year. In July 1992, he reported at the Amphibious Warfare School of the United States Marine Corps University in Quantico, Virginia, US, and graduated with a diploma in amphibious warfare in May 1993. In February 1994, Ibas commenced the Officers' Long Course specializing in underwater warfare at the Underwater Warfare School, NNS, Kwara, and completed the same in February 1995. From August 1996 to July 1997, he returned to the prestigious Armed Forces Command and Staff College, Jaji, where he completed the Senior Staff course with excellent grades. He is also an alumnus of the National Defense College, Islamabad, Pakistan. Having completed the National Defense course from August 2005 to June 2006, in addition, he holds a master's degree in Defense and Strategic Studies from Quaid Azam University in Islamabad, Pakistan. Ibas has held several appointments in the Nigerian Navy. As a midshipman, he served on board NNS Ruwarinyaru, NNS Obuma, and NNS Aradu. He later served on board NNS Ayam and NNS Ekpe as a watchkeeping officer. After he was commissioned sub-lieutenant, he was the commanding officer of the Nigerian Navy Underwater Warfare School from August 1997 to September 1998. His last sojourn in the college was as deputy commandant from January to February 2014. Ibas was the Naval Provost Marshal from April 2003 to June 2004 and was later the principal staff officer to the then CNS from June 2004 to July 2005. He was the Command Operations Officer at the Headquarters Western Naval Command, Lagos, from June to December 2006. The senior officer was appointed to the Naval Headquarters first as the Chief of the Administration from March 2011 to February 2012, and later as the Naval Secretary from February 2012 to January 2013. Thereafter, he became the Flag Officer commanding Western Naval Command from January 2013 to January 2014. He was appointed Chief of Logistics in February 2014 and then the GMD CEO of Nigerian Navy Holdings Limited in December of the same year. This was the appointment he held until he was appointed the 22nd Chief of the Naval Staff on 13 July 2015. In the course of distinguished service in the Nigerian Navy, Ibas has earned several prestigious awards. In October 2022, a Nigerian National Honor of Commander of the Order of the Federal Republic was conferred on him by President Muhammad Buhari. He is married to Teresa Ibas and they are blessed with 3 children. Nigeria has experienced several states of emergency since democracy was restored in 1999. Here are some instances. Plateau State, 2004, President Olusegun Obasanjo declared a state of emergency in Plateau State due to communal clashes, suspending the state governor Joshua Darie and the House of Assembly for 6 months. A retired Army General Chris Ali was appointed as the interim administrator. Ekiti State, 2006, Obasanjo again declared a state of emergency in Ekiti State, removing Governor Peter Ayodele Fayose and his deputy from office. A retired Army General, Tunji Oluri, was appointed as the sole administrator. Adamawa, Borno, and Yobe State, 2013. President Goodluck Jonathan declared a state of emergency in these 3 states due to the Boko Haram insurgency. However, unlike in the previous instances, Jonathan did not suspend the governors or the state assemblies. With the declaration of state of emergency in Rivers State, it is hoped that peace will be restored in the states.
You're welcome back. That was a brief profile of the newly appointed sole administrator of Rivers State following the declaration of state of emergency by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu yesterday, 13th of March 2025. It was packaged by our correspondent from the KAFTAN newsroom, Zainab Akogun. Well, so much reactions have continued to trail the declaration of state of emergency yesterday. One of them is coming from former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, who has said that the declaration of a state of emergency in Rivers State by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu reeks of political manipulation and outright bad faith. Atiku also described the declaration of a state of emergency in Rivers State as disgraceful, stressing that President Tinubu cannot evade responsibility for the chaos his administration has either enabled or failed to prevent in Rivers State. President Tinubu, so much reactions will be coming out from especially the opposition groups in Nigeria, and we've heard that of former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, but others are coming. Let's take this caller. Hello, good afternoon. Hello, good afternoon. Hello, you're on. You're on to the Polity, please. Go ahead. Hello, good afternoon.
Hello?
Yeah, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, my brother.
What's your name, sir?
I have to use another number.
Matthew, turn down the volume of your TV, Matthew.
Hello, is it all right now?
It's all right now. Matthew from Edo State.
Okay, well, my contribution.
Go ahead.
President Bola Ahmed Tinubu will remain in the annals of Nigerian history as the man who is scoring first. He is the first president that has gone ahead to remove the oil subsidy. There was hell was let loose. Why did you remove the subsidy? Why did you do that? Those who are coming out to now criticize him, including Atiku Abubakar, these are PDP chieftains. What were they doing all these years? For 2 years, crisis was PDP party was in crisis in Rivers State. What were these men doing, my brother? Let us ask them questions. They come out now to say Tinubu has done something, but according to section 305 of the Constitution, the man has power to do what he has done. Say extraordinary measures to arrest public disorder and the rest of them. People are arguing that whether there's public disorder in Rivers State, do we have to wait till there's another Boko Haram in South before we begin to fight it? If this same measure that Tinubu has taken in Rivers State was taken in Borno State, when these Boko Haram were rearing their heads at that time, they would have been able to still be tied at that time. But they allowed it to fester. The same thing wanted to happen in this state. There has been this back and forth, and there are PDP chieftains of Bode Church, Atiku Abubakar, and all the lot of people. They never did anything. Tinubu intervened almost 2 or 3 times. Yes, this thing did not come through. Then you now want the president and commander-in-chief of the country to watch the hell that is going on here now. People are going up a pipeline. Atiku has never come out when they are something ahead in one day saying that what is happening in Rivers State is a PDP chieftain. How many times, let me tell Nigeria, how many times he has gone there to intervene in the meeting? If everybody is fighting the lawmakers, they are all PDP members. Let us assume that Atiku is a PDP chieftain. What has he been able to contribute to ameliorating the situation? They waited until this time when pipelines have been blown and they want the president to fold his hand. And then out now. I just called somebody to find out. So we should wait for hell to be let loose before we begin to do the needful. If the man has done well, he will remain a president that is will be remembered for a very long time for taking courageous, bold decision when it matters. God bless Nigeria. Macauley, my brother, God bless you and others.
Thank you so very much. I appreciate you for that. Let's take the last caller. You are going to be our last caller for this afternoon. Please go ahead. Suleiman. Is that Suleiman from Kogi? Is that Suleiman? Hello, good afternoon. Go ahead.
Yes, good afternoon. This is Olumide calling you right from Jabi here in Abuja.
Olumide from Jabi.
Yes. You see, it's just that I don't know why everybody who hates this government just want to insert my honorable minister Yeson Wike into every discussion. Now, let me just go straight to one of the points at which the Supreme Court gave verdict for Rivers State that the governor should go and represent the budget and to do the needful. You see, the Supreme Court in their own wisdom said there has not been governance in Rivers State since 2023. And if the words of the Supreme Court has a spirit or a mind, it means there needs to be governance. And if the two hands of government are not getting along with themselves, then they want to continue the absence of governance in the state, which is chaotic. No commander-in-chief wants chaotic society. And if the president sees it as is needed to bring sanity into the state, and he's doing it, and wants to categorize his action as a necessity act. He just has to do something to bring calmness to Rivers State, and he has done that. And see, as for me, anybody who hates or who is bitter or who just wants to bring down Yeson Wike for the success which he's making, they will die for his sake. Okay. Because Yeson Wike is not the problem which some people have. The problem which they have is themselves. Thank you very much.
We appreciate you for that. And with that last caller, we draw the curtain on today's edition of the Polity. I remain yours truly, Macauley Hunohashi, saying thanks for being there. See you next time. God bless Nigeria.